Hello and welcome to another video. This is Win or Bin. Today we have Ship Graveyard Simulator 3. This is a first impressions based on the demo and the obvious successor to Ship Graveyard Simulator 2, which I happen to think is a hell of a lot of fun despite having so many flaws. So hopefully we'll work out whether this game irons out some of those flaws or has flaws of its own. So the idea of the game, if you're not familiar, is you are somebody who buys old ships and you take them apart. You have various tools, hammers, welding tools, saws. You have access to various rope equipment, which allows you to climb up on these big structures and dismantle them and sell the parts for various amounts of money, which you use to upgrade your tools to make things more efficient. Now for the setting, Ship Graveyard Simulator 2 seemingly seems to be set in somewhere like Bangladesh or India, that part of the world where they do genuinely scrap ships. Fine with that, no problem. This game seems to follow on not necessarily with the same geographic location, because this to me feels like some sort of Eastern European place, certainly by the look of the NPCs here, but the whole area kind of feels the same in that you've got all the structural similarities of the buildings in the town/village that you're working in. None of that's much different, except the people that are working around the place do seem a little bit different, so I don't know if this is supposed to be somewhere different or not. Don't think it really matters. You use your laptop in your cabin to find wrecks that you can buy to then get dismantled by yourself. So in this, there is a slight difference. You don't just get a list of ships. You've got some geographical locations on a map that you can choose from. Whether or not in the full game there is more to it than just picking a geographical location and picking a ship from said location to scrap may be a different thing. Perhaps, perhaps not. But there is a map involved this time. I am also led to believe that you can upgrade your living quarters / your office quarters, whereas in the original game, you're just stuck with one cabin. This does seem to lend itself to the idea of being able to upgrade where you are. Whether that leads to better ability to do things is an entirely separate question, but I should mention that seems to be the intention here. This game actually contains 3 vehicles, certainly from this demo point of view. So you've got a little truck which can hold a small amount of material, which I best describe as more like a car, to be honest. And then you've got 2 big vehicles. You've got a big low loader flatbed lorry thing, and you've got a lorry which has a hold attached to it, a big hold, so you can chuck loads of the material into the back there. The flatbed is for heavy, big slabs of material like parts of the hull, and in one instance a big gun turret from an old gunship that you can dismantle. So I'm really happy with the amount of vehicles in this, and they actually do feel a little bit more meaty than the truck that you're given in Ship Graveyard Simulator 2, albeit not perfect, but maybe just a little bit more meaty and a bit more feel behind it, but still a bit arcadey to drive. Some really good things about this. Now, the world has expanded slightly, so there is more space to move around on the map, which is good, and there are some bad things to that, which I'll come to in a moment. It just means that the world feels a little bit more alive and expansive, which is good, because you don't feel quite as claustrophobic, perhaps. I absolutely love the way that your tools do different things to the structures that you're interacting with. So let's take, for example, the hammer. In Ship Graveyard Simulator 2, you had to hammer particular points of a piece of material to dislodge it and free it up. In this, you can just randomly hit a, for example, piece of deck, and you'll see it dent and flex as you keep hitting it, and eventually it gives way, much the same way as things did in the second iteration of this game. Things around it will then collapse. Things like a saw and the blowtorch, if you're going to be sort of dismantling things that way, you can literally choose any point that you wish to dismantle on, and you can draw your line, so to speak, where you want to cut. And it's up to you where you want to do that, and it dynamically breaks exactly where you put the cut. So it will physically collapse at that point, not just some random point. So I really like the way that they've gone about that in terms of realism. You can now use the crane yourself. So before, you just point the radio tool at a particular thing you wish to be craned away to take the resources for, but this time, no, you control the crane, and you can then take the thing that you've craned onto your big lorry flatbed thing, take it away and dismantle it into smaller pieces, which you can then, in the same way of the previous games, go and sell, and obviously then make more money, which is wonderful. But I know some people aren't necessarily liking that, but for me, I'm quite happy having the control of the crane. There's not much more to it than just literally hovering the cursor over something you want lifted, and then clicking on it, and then just dropping it on the back of the lorry. But it's a little bit more immersion than there is in previous versions, which for me I like. As much as I love the new physics and visuals to this, there are some negatives. So starting as soon as I open the game, I go into the game options. For some reason, you can't put VSync on before you play the game, but as soon as you open the game, you can put VSync on. So I had to do that to stop screen tearing. But yeah, no idea why that doesn't work in the menu. Also, something perhaps slightly trivial also is the fact that they call a trailer a triller, Triller. So come on, yes, fine. English may not be the developer's first language, but at least try to have somebody spell checking your work, because that's pretty unacceptable in my book, at least for something so simple. There also seems to be very little to interact with in terms of the town. So yes, I said a moment ago that there's a bigger space to roam around in, but there appears to be only one place that you can sell stuff to, which is fine. But there's a lot of space that doesn't do very much. And I know this is the demo, but there's nothing in the way of being able to upgrade my tools. There's nothing in the way to be able to upgrade my vehicles, although I do know that there is supposed to be in the full game a way to customize your vehicles in terms of color, perhaps performance. I'm not entirely sure. So there's nothing really open to you barring selling, which is fine, but perhaps to give you more of a flavor of the game, they should have opened up it a bit more. The NPCs themselves, on the subject of selling to, are wooden. Their voices don't match the way they look, and they're very static. They don't move anywhere. They stay still and sort of wobble around a bit, but very, very poor effort on that one. My biggest gripe, though, that I'm leaving till last, and some people may disagree or agree with this point, but there is so much crap on board these ships. You turn up to a new wreck that you've just purchased, and the amount of, should we call it litter, in inverted commas, all of which you can pick up and sell and make money from, fine. There's too much of it, and you spend most of the time making this a litter picker simulator. And what I want, and I think Ship Graveyard Simulator 2 did well with this, is yes, there is an element of litter, and by that I mean things that you can pick up in the ship, like life belts and cupboards and toilets and, wardrobes and various little odds and sods. There's stuff like that in the second instance, yes, but this goes to town on it. There's everywhere you move, there's far too much, and as soon as floors start collapsing and walls start collapsing, all of this stuff just ends up in a big pile, which I understand they're going to end up in a big pile if something's fallen up from above onto the lower deck, for example, but there's far too much stuff. We want to get on with just smashing things to pieces. We want to get on with dismantling. Yes, pick up some bits off the ground for money, fine, but it seems to be that there's too much and you spend too much time doing that and not the stuff you really want to be doing. And that is not a good thing for me. Look, this game I think is best in multiplayer, and the demo is only single player. Fine, so we don't get to experience that. Also, I believe that in the full game, you're going to be able to hire people to do some of the work for you, and there's going to be an element of progression and hopefully upgrades to your tools. But for me, the demo does not give you enough to show you what's going to be available. There should be far more effort made to allow you to do more. There are flaws in what's in the game. There are bits of floating debris everywhere and whatnot, and it's a bit clunky, but no worse than Ship Graveyard Sim 2. But it doesn't give the best first impression. Now, I think overall this could be better than that, because the UI is actually quite nice and improved. And I'm not going to give this a win or a bin status, but for me, I think it could be better than its previous version. But equally, it could be a hell of a lot worse. There's a lot that needs doing. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But there's certainly my views on this so far. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.